Religion. As in the Tudor times, religion was always a problem. It had gone from Catholic to Protestant, back to Catholic, Protestant again. Then before Elizabeth I it was Catholic, and then obviously she was trying to change it back to Protestant, like a brother Edward VI would be. So in terms of it, the major problem is people had been used to a Catholic ruler before Elizabeth I came on the throne. And also, Mary I had been known as Bloody Mary because she killed a lot of Protestant heretics at the stake. So you were called a heretic if you didn't follow the religion of your monarch. And what Elizabeth didn't want to do, and she actually said when she came in, she said when she took the throne, she said, I'm not my sister and I'll not rule like her either. Okay? So basically she was trying to make it clear that she wouldn't use that policy of terror by killing anybody who wasn't following the Protestant religion. So for religion, she had to try and find a fairer way to do things, and she compromised, and it was called the middle way. So she expected people to obviously be outwardly Protestant, but if they were Catholic and wanted to worship in private, then she wouldn't go looking for them. So that was her religious policy. Again, I'll come back to that later. This one is simply about the problems that she faced. Another major problem is Ireland. And to be honest, throughout her reign, she tried to send loads of different people to Ireland to sort things out. As you'll know, like the Earl of Essex got sent there to put down rebellion, and he actually ended up making peace with the Irish and things. It never ever ran smoothly. And the two major reasons were, the Irish were Catholics, and obviously Elizabeth was a Protestant, and also England felt that they ruled Ireland. Elizabeth saw herself as Queen of Ireland, but the Irish didn't. So they were the major problems that she faced in terms of Ireland. Another major problem was taxation. Whatever you think you've heard before, or maybe read before, heard at primary school about how rich the Tudors were, they were at one point, obviously, when there was the dissolution of the monasteries and Henry took all the money for himself and to fill the English treasury. But obviously he spent a lot of money on wars and, building like ships like the Mary Rose and things. And obviously, really, the Tudors, by the time it got to Elizabeth's reign, were not very well off at all. So when she comes in, she's pretty broke, to be honest, so she has to raise the taxes, and unfortunately raising taxes immediately makes you unpopular with your people, but really Elizabeth I had absolutely no choice than to do that. Foreign policy. We'll look at this in more detail later, but obviously her major problems in terms of foreign policy were Catholic countries in Europe. So that includes Spain, it includes Rome, okay, because obviously it's Italy, but you'd really talk about Rome, particularly where enemies of her. France was also a Catholic country, and Spain in those days owned the Netherlands. So the Spanish Netherlands were a major problem for her as well, because half the people there were Catholics and half of them were Protestants. So you'll see later how that comes into conflict with what she is planning and what King Philip II of Spain is planning. So certainly she has some difficulties in terms of a foreign policy. And also she's always in danger because when a woman is on the throne, people think it's easier to invade because they always expect a male heir to the throne. So that also makes her vulnerable. But she tries her best to deal with that because obviously she builds up a navy and things to try and protect us as an island. But again, in later podcasts you'll see what happens in terms of a navy and invasions. And the final one, yeah, sorry girls, but it's absolutely true. One of her major problems was being a woman. We know that Henry VIII had been absolutely desperate for a male heir. He'd gone through 6 wives to ensure that happened, and obviously hoping to get more than one, male living heir. But unfortunately, he only got the one. So Edward's died so young. He died at 15, didn't he? So then obviously Mary I had to go on the throne, and she was only there for 5 years. And his last living daughter was Elizabeth. So when Elizabeth comes on the throne, because Bloody Mary had not had a good reign, people are thinking it's going to be an utter disaster. Because obviously Mary had married King Philip II of Spain, who proved hugely unpopular. She was unpopular herself. So in terms of that, Elizabeth I had some real work to do to show that she actually could manage to be a successful female ruler. And boy, didn't she do well. She only got voted Woman of the Millennium in the year 2000. But certainly she made it very clear that she was living in a man's world. She realised that, and that makes her reign and this topic even more interesting.